Some people, without being the most attractive or graceful, have something that makes them absolutely irresistible, a magnetic presence that draws others in effortlessly. It's not magic, luck, or mere coincidence. It's psychology. And if you understand how to apply it, you can achieve the same effect on people without having to fake anything or try too hard. In this video, I'm going to reveal 9 key ways to naturally attract and connect with others. No games, no cheap tricks, and be sure to pay close attention to the last point, because it's the most powerful of them all. Stick around until the end, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content that truly helps you improve your life. Let's dive in. First, smile and show genuine interest. If you think smiling is just a minor detail, think again. A well-placed smile is a secret weapon when it comes to the psychology of attraction. But we're not talking about forced, artificial smiles, the kind that feel more like a salesperson trying to convince you to buy something you don't need. No, we're talking about a real, natural smile. A genuine smile says, "I enjoy being here." Studies show that people who smile sincerely are perceived as more attractive and trustworthy. In fact, research published in the journal Neuropsychology revealed that the human brain responds more positively to a smiling face than to a neutral or serious one. In other words, simply showing your naturally clean teeth can earn you points without effort. But the secret isn't just in smiling, it's also in demonstrating genuine interest in the other person. Nothing distances people more than someone who smiles while staring off into the horizon, as if thinking about what to have for dinner instead of paying attention to the conversation. This is where eye contact comes into play. It doesn't have to be an intense, piercing gaze. That can be unsettling. Instead, make intentional eye contact that conveys, "I'm listening to you, and I care about what you're saying." Listening isn't just about hearing with your ears. It's about engaging with your whole body. Slightly nodding, reacting with facial expressions, and asking thoughtful questions show that you are truly invested in the conversation. Because at the end of the day, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. The difference between someone who's just waiting for their turn to speak and someone who is fully present in a conversation is massive. There's also something almost magical about the energy you project when you genuinely enjoy a conversation. Think about those people who, while not necessarily physically attractive, have a certain charm that makes you want to keep talking to them. That magic is nothing more than a reflection of their positive attitude and authentic interest in others. The goal isn't to fake it, it's to train your mind to genuinely find value in the people you engage with. When you do this, you'll notice conversations flowing more effortlessly, and people, without even knowing why, will feel more comfortable around you. Because ultimately, what truly attracts us isn't just how someone looks, but how they make us feel. The second key is to start conversations with confidence. The first step in captivating someone is breaking the ice. And this is where many people struggle because they think they need a perfect, almost magical opening line to impress the other person instantly. But the truth is, it's not about having the wittiest words. It's about projecting confidence. Do you know what makes someone instantly attractive? Confidence. And I don't mean arrogance or acting like you own the world. I mean that quiet self-assurance that comes when someone speaks naturally, without fear or hesitation. A study from the University of British Columbia found that confident people are perceived as more attractive, regardless of their physical appearance. So the key isn't in what you say, but in how you say it. Speaking with a steady voice, maintaining eye contact without looking like a robot, and having relaxed body language make all the difference. And if you feel nervous, don't worry. What matters is acting in spite of the nerves. Fear of rejection often paralyzes us, but the reality is, nobody has ever died from starting a conversation. If you find yourself running out of things to say, the best approach is to ask open-ended questions that invite the other person to share. Something as simple as, "What's the most incredible place you've ever visited?" Or, What's the most interesting thing that happened to you this week? Can open the door to a great conversation without making it feel like an interview. When you approach conversations with confidence, the other person picks up on that energy and feels more comfortable around you. But if you hesitate too much or overthink everything you say, you can come across as uncertain, which might make the other person feel uneasy as well. Instead, if you stay relaxed, maintain a positive attitude, and smile naturally, conversations will flow in a spontaneous and effortless way. And here's an infallible trick. Remember that you're not just trying to impress, you're also getting to know someone. Instead of worrying about saying the right thing, focus on enjoying the moment and discovering something interesting about the person in front of you. Confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about being comfortable with who you are and what you have to say. When you achieve that, connecting with others becomes much easier. The third key is to be authentic. Share your real interests instead of pretending. One of the most common mistakes people make when trying to impress someone is pretending to like the same things as them. For example, imagine someone says they love art house cinema, but you're more into action movies filled with explosions. Instead of being honest, you decide to say you're also a huge fan of experimental films. Or worse, you start pretending to be an expert in something you barely know, just to seem more interesting. The problem is, sooner or later, the truth comes out. And when it does, instead of making you seem more attractive, it makes you seem fake, like a chameleon that changes colors just to fit in. Authenticity is what truly creates a genuine connection. A study from the University of Cambridge found that people with a strong sense of self and authenticity are perceived as more attractive because they inspire trust and stability. Nobody likes feeling like they're talking to a fabricated version of someone. Plus, being honest about your interests makes you stand out. Do you know how many people say things just to please others? A lot. But someone who dares to say, "I've never seen that kind of movie before. Do you have a recommendation?" instantly becomes more intriguing. It creates an opportunity to learn something new. This also applies to expressing your opinions. You don't have to agree with everything just to get along. In fact, a respectful and well-articulated disagreement can make a conversation much more interesting. If someone says they love reggaeton and you prefer classic rock, instead of saying, "That's awful," you could say, "I have to admit I've never been a big fan, but what's one song you'd recommend that might change my mind?" This shows openness without losing authenticity. At the end of the day, the best way to attract the right people isn't to fit into some pre-made mold, but to connect with those who value you for who you truly are. And trust me, being genuine isn't just more attractive, it also saves you the exhausting effort of maintaining a false persona. There are people who, without being the most physically attractive or graceful, have something about them that makes them irresistible, a magnetic presence that draws others in. It's not magic, luck, or mere chance, it's psychology. And if you understand how to apply it, you can create the same effect on others without having to pretend or try too hard. In this video, I'm going to reveal key principles for naturally attracting and connecting with others. No games, no cheap tricks, and be sure to pay attention until the end, because the last point is the most powerful of all. First, smile and show genuine interest. If you think a smile is just a small detail, think again. A well-placed smile is a secret weapon in the psychology of attraction. But we're not talking about those fake, forced grins that look more like a sales pitch than sincerity. We're talking about a genuine smile, the kind that says, "I enjoy being here." Studies have shown that people who smile authentically are perceived as more attractive and trustworthy. In fact, research published in Neuropsychologia found that the human brain responds more positively to a smiling face than to a neutral or serious one. Just by showing your naturally bright smile, you're already making a great impression without any extra effort. But the real secret isn't just about smiling. It's about demonstrating genuine interest in the person you're interacting with. There's nothing more disconnecting than someone who smiles while their eyes are lost in the distance, as if they're thinking about dinner instead of listening to what you're saying. This is where eye contact comes into play. You don't need an intense, piercing stare. That can be unsettling. Instead, focus on mindful eye contact that communicates, "I'm here, I'm listening, and I care about what you're saying." And listening isn't just about hearing with your ears. It's about engaging with your entire body. Slightly nod, respond with facial expressions, and ask follow-up questions that show you're genuinely interested. At the end of the day, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And trust me, the difference between someone who is just waiting for their turn to talk and someone who is truly present in the conversation is massive. There's also something almost magical about the energy you project when you enjoy a conversation. Think about those people who, even if they aren't physically striking, have something about them that makes you want to keep talking. That magic is nothing more than a reflection of their positive attitude and genuine interest. It's not about pretending to be interested, but about training your mind to truly find value in the people you talk to. When you start doing this, you'll notice that your interactions flow better, and people will feel more comfortable around you without even realizing why. After all, what truly attracts us isn't just appearance, it's the way someone makes us feel. Now let's talk about breaking the ice with confidence. Many people struggle with this because they believe they need a perfect, almost magical opening line that will instantly impress the other person. But the truth is, it's not about saying the most clever words, it's about projecting confidence. Do you know what makes someone instantly attractive? Confidence. And I'm not talking about arrogance or acting like you own the world. I mean the quiet self-assurance that comes from expressing yourself naturally, without fear or hesitation. A study from the University of British Columbia found that confident people are perceived as more attractive, regardless of their physical appearance. So, the key isn't in what you say, but how you say it. Speaking with a steady voice, maintaining eye contact without seeming robotic, and keeping a relaxed body language makes all the difference. And if you feel nervous, don't worry, that's normal. The important thing is to take action despite those nerves. Often, the fear of rejection paralyzes us, but let's be real. No one has ever died from starting a conversation. If you run out of things to say, the best approach is to ask open-ended questions that invite the other person to talk. Something as simple as, "What's the most amazing place you've ever visited?" Or, "What's the most interesting thing that happened to you this week?" can open the door to a meaningful conversation without feeling like an interview. When you approach interactions with confidence, others will pick up on it and feel more at ease with you. If, on the other hand, you hesitate too much or seem unsure, it can make the other person feel uncomfortable too. But when you appear relaxed, have a positive attitude, and smile naturally, conversations flow effortlessly. A great trick is to remember that you're not there just to impress. You're there to get to know the other person. Instead of worrying about saying the perfect thing, focus on enjoying the moment and discovering something interesting about them. Confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about being comfortable with who you are and what you have to say. And when you reach that level of authenticity, connecting with others becomes much easier. Another crucial aspect is authenticity. One of the biggest mistakes people make when trying to impress someone is pretending to like the same things as them. Imagine someone says they love indie films, and even though you prefer action-packed blockbusters, you suddenly claim to be a huge fan of experimental cinema. Or worse, you start pretending to be an expert in something you barely know, just to seem more interesting. The problem with this is that sooner or later, the truth comes out, and when it does, instead of making you look more attractive, it makes you seem fake, like a chameleon changing colors just to fit in. Being authentic is what truly creates genuine connections. A study from Cambridge University found that people with a strong sense of self and authenticity are perceived as more attractive because they inspire trust and stability. Nobody likes feeling like they're talking to a fabricated version of someone else. Being honest about your interests makes you stand out. Do you know how many people just say things to please others? A lot. But someone who dares to say, "I've never watched a movie like that before. What would you recommend?" instantly becomes more intriguing. This also applies to the way you express your opinions. You don't have to agree with everything to get along with someone. In fact, a respectful discussion can make a conversation even more engaging. If someone says they love reggaeton and you prefer classic rock, instead of saying, "That's trash," you could respond, "I have to admit I've never been a fan, but tell me, what song should I listen to that might change my mind?" This shows openness without sacrificing authenticity. At the end of the day, being yourself isn't just more attractive, it also saves you the exhausting effort of maintaining a false persona. True confidence doesn't come from appearing perfect, it comes from accepting who you are without fear of what others think. And when you embrace this, the right people will naturally be drawn to you. Sometimes, when talking to someone we truly care about, we focus so much on what we're going to say next that we forget to be fully present in the conversation. And here's a surprising fact. According to a study by Harvard University, the simple act of active listening increases attraction and trust. That's because it makes the other person feel valued and understood. Think about how often you've been in a conversation where someone nods their head, but you can tell their mind is somewhere else. It feels terrible, right? Well, if you want to build a real connection with someone, forget the automatic responses. Instead, pay close attention. Ask questions that show genuine interest in what the other person is saying. Avoid generic phrases like, "Oh, that's interesting," or "Yeah, of course." Instead, dig deeper with something like, "That sounds amazing. How did you get interested in that?" Or, "I've never thought about it that way. What did you like most about it?" This doesn't just show that you're listening, it also helps you understand the other person on a deeper level. And don't worry, this doesn't mean you have to agree with everything they say. If something doesn't quite convince you, instead of dismissing it, ask about it with curiosity rather than confrontation. For example, if someone says they think traveling is a waste of money, don't immediately argue. Instead say, "That's interesting. Most people see it differently. What makes you feel that way?" This way, instead of creating tension, you open up a space where both of you can express your thoughts freely, without fear of being judged. Speaking naturally is also key. Don't force phrases or try to sound like a movie character. People can tell when you're trying too hard to impress, and instead of making you more charismatic, it does the opposite. It takes away your authenticity. The best thing you can do is be yourself, but with confidence. You don't need to overcomplicate your words or prove you're the smartest person in the room. Sometimes, simplicity is the most attractive trait. Here's a simple trick. Repeat part of what the other person said in your response. If they tell you they love photography because it allows them to capture unique moments, you could say, "That sounds incredible. The idea of capturing one-of-a-kind moments is fascinating. Do you have a favorite photo you've taken?" This not only shows that you're paying attention, but also opens the door to deeper conversations. In the end, speaking naturally and listening carefully makes the other person feel important, and that's what truly creates a genuine connection. Another crucial thing is showing your real personality. Nothing is more obvious than when someone is pretending to be something they're not. No matter how much you try to act like the perfect person to fit in, the truth always comes out. And when it does, trust and attraction can disappear in an instant. The key here is simple. Don't try to impress, try to connect. And that only happens when you're authentic. But be careful. Being authentic doesn't mean saying whatever comes to mind without a filter or using honesty as an excuse to be rude. It's about expressing yourself naturally without forcing attitudes that don't align with who you truly are. Many people, out of fear of rejection, adopt the likes and opinions of the other person, trying to seem like the perfect match. The problem is, that this creates relationships based on a false version of yourself. Over time, keeping up that act becomes exhausting. Remember, the right people will appreciate you for who you really are. As Ralph Waldo Emerson said, to be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else is the greatest accomplishment. And he was right. Authenticity is attractive because it shows confidence. When you pretend to be something you're not, you unconsciously betray yourself, and it shows in your body language, your responses, and how you react to different situations. Energy doesn't lie. At first, someone might be drawn to the image you project, but over time, that inner disconnect becomes obvious, and everything falls apart. Think about it. Would you want someone to be close to you just because they were pretending to be someone they're not? Of course not. Real connection happens when two people can be themselves, with their strengths and flaws, and still choose to be together. So stop worrying about fitting into a mold and start focusing on being confidently yourself. Confidence isn't about looking perfect. It's about embracing who you are without fear of what others think. Another important thing, ask for opinions and truly value them. Everyone likes to feel heard and appreciated. It's part of human nature. But there's a big difference between just hearing someone and truly paying attention to them. When you ask for someone's opinion, you're indirectly saying, I care about what you think. I value your perspective. I want to get to know you better. And believe me, that has a bigger impact than you might imagine. Don't ask just for the sake of asking or to force a conversation. Ask because you genuinely care. Something as simple as, what do you think about this? Or, how do you see this situation? Can open the door to deep, meaningful conversations. Be careful. This isn't about agreeing with everything or asking questions just for the sake of it. It's about truly being interested in what the other person has to say. Often, in an attempt to impress, people just sit and talk about themselves, their achievements, their ideas, their experiences, without realizing that real connection happens when there's a balanced exchange. Give the other person space to express themselves, listen carefully, and show them that their perspective matters. Socrates once said, "The secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new." In this case, the key isn't to show off how much you know, but to be open to what the other person can share with you. And the best part? This not only strengthens your bond with them, but also expands your own worldview. When you ask questions and value other people's opinions, you show them respect, and that naturally creates attraction. But be genuine. Nothing is worse than someone asking a question just to seem interested, and then not even paying attention to the answer. So next time you're talking to someone you like, remember, listening with your heart is far more valuable than just talking with your head. At the end of the day, people don't stay because of what you say or do in a superficial sense. They stay because of how you make them feel. Falling in love, connecting, and building meaningful relationships isn't about luck or following a scripted formula. It's about being authentic, showing real interest, and sharing experiences that truly matter. If this video gave you value, leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so we can continue exploring ways to improve our lives together. Also, let me know in the comments, which of these points resonated with you the most, or which one have you already applied in your life? See you in the next video.